Good afternoon, ladies, gentlemen. Welcome back. We have a little bit of fun planned for you in a minute, but I have some messages first. The first one's quite exciting. We have a winner. We have, you've voted in your thousands for the photographic competition, so thank you. Our winner, who will collect a £500 voucher for photographic equipment, winning the category Growing on the Farm, is Stephen Hole of Caithness Potatoes. Stephen? Good. Okay. A couple of questions you've had throughout the day. First one is, where do I get presentations for this event? Once we have dusted ourselves down and returned to base, we will put them all online. We have your email addresses. You've supplied those, so we'll be able to mail out to you as soon as that goes up online. So be a little bit patient with us, but we will get those to you very, very shortly. Another question was, what do I do with my headset when I have finished the day? You return it to the front of the Pentland auditorium, so we can collect those in at the close of the final session. Okay. Just a little bit of a reminder about what's going to happen tonight. I've said this so many times already. You will not get in without your wristband, okay? Also, you will not get in without a rudimentary understanding of Scottish dancing, okay? Welcome the Burrell.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to show you how you're going to dance tonight. And you have to pay extreme attention. I know you've been very busy over paying attention to potatoes and things like that, but you're now going to pay attention to dancing. So, what we have brought along, we've brought 4 professional dancers and 2 drummers from the Celtic Beat the other night who can't dance. So we're going to bring them onto the stage now. And we're going to go over some of the dances we're going to do tonight. So this is the Burrell, this is the dance group. If you'd like to welcome them on. The ones in the skirts are the ones who can't dance. Okay, so what we're going to do tonight, I'm actually going to be in the band tonight, and so is John. We're going to be playing for you, but you are going to have to get up and dance. And I know a lot of you have never done Scottish dancing before. It is very simple. It is very, very simple if you pay attention now. So the first dance that we're going to demonstrate is the Gay Gordons. So what this dance is, it's a couples dance. So gentlemen choose their partner, and they hold themselves in a Gay Gordon's hold. So the gentleman puts their right arm over the lady's shoulder, the lady holds them, and the lady puts her hand at the front. You will be in a nice big circle round the dance floor. And what you're going to do is you're going to start off walking forward for 4, turning round and walking backwards. But when you walk backwards, you must walk in the same direction. Okay? And then you're going to repeat that. Walking forward for 4, turning round and walking back. Once you've done that and you haven't crashed into people, you're then going to spin your lady, gentlemen, for the count of 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then you're going to poke around. That's a wee waltz round for the count of 8. Okay? So we started the dance all over again. So we'll try it once without the music. So you're facing anti-clockwise. As you can see, Jordan can't dance. That's why he's here, to let you see how easy it is. Right. So after my count of 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Forward, 2, 3, 4, turn back, 2, 3, 4. Forward, 2, 3, 4, turn back. Now you're going to spin your lady. Spin, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And polka, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, right, we're going to try it. We're now going to try it to music. There'll be a wee fiddle intro, and then we're off. Here we go, and forward, 2, 3, 4, and back, 2, 3, 4, forward, 2, 3, 4, and back. Spin your lady, spin, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and polka, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Forward, 2, 3, 4, and back, 2, 3, 4. Forward, 2, 3, 4, and back, 2, 3, 4. Spin, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and polka, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Excellent. So, do you think you'll be able to do that tonight? You will. You will. You will. Right. So that is the Gay Gordons. We're going to move on to the next dance. Now that was a couples dance. The next dance is going to be what we call a set dance. So that is a group of people rather than just couples. This dance, we gather in it's 3 couples that can do the dance, or you can make it up into 3 people, 1 lady, 2 gents, 2 ladies, 1 gent. Okay, so first of all, they're going to break and just be in their line of 3. Just go in your lines of 3. So that is your group. This is how you're going to form your set. And you always stay in this set while you dance. So they're going to join hands now in a circle. Now this dance, you're going to be in circles all round the dance floor. So one set of 3 are going to go anti-clockwise, the other set are going to go clockwise. So we start the dance after my count of 4, going round for 8 and back for 8. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Left, the other way. Stop. That was it. We just did that. We set that up. Right. To the left. After my count of 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Left, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And back, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Stop. So you stop in your 2 lines of 3. The person in the middle turns to the partner on their right, does a wee hook and a chook, and spins their partner with their right arm. Face the partner on their left, wee hook and a chook, and spin them with their left arm. Now they do a figure of 8. Figure of 8. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And again, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Stop. Now they're going to walk forward. So walk, 2, 3, stamp, stamp. Back, 2, 3, clap, clap. Now one lot are going to walk past the other lot. So on you go, walk past them. And they will join another set that will be coming towards them. Okay? So if you can imagine, there's lots of sets round the dance floor. So as you move on to another 3 coming the opposite direction. So we'll try it to music. This is called the Dashing White Sergeant. So a wee fiddle intro, and then we're off. And left, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Back, 2, 3. Now split up into your 3s. Person in the middle, turn to the partner on the right, set and swing. Partner on the left, a wee set and a wee swing. Now figure of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And again, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Stop. Forward, 2, 3, stamp, stamp. Back, 2, 3, clap, clap. Walk past and join another 3. So join on quick and round. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And back, 2, 3, 4. Split into your 3s. Set and swing the partner on your right. Set and swing the partner on your left. Figure of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And again. Join hands in your 3s. Forward, 2, 3, stamp, stamp. Back, 2, 3, clap, clap. Over and under. Excellent. So, when you go over and under, do not turn backwards and go back. That was just because we've only got 6 people here. You will move on, keep moving round the dance floor, anti-clockwise and clockwise. Okay, so the last dance we're going to show you is the last dance we're going to do tonight. And this is called an Arcadian Strip the Willow. And it's our favourite dance. It's really, really easy. And what we have is we have one big line of ladies and one big line of gentlemen. So we need to swap. Who's the man? Right? Okay. So imagine we have one huge big line of ladies going down the dance floor, one big line of gentlemen. And basically all you're going to do is spin or burrow your way all the way down. So it starts off the top couple. After the count of 4, we'll swing for 16. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Swing 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Stop. Now the lady will swing the gentleman with her left arm. The gent will swing the lady with the left arm. And then they meet each other in the middle with their right arms and they move down to the next couple. And they keep moving down, keep going. They would come down, more couples. More couples. They would move all the way down till they get to the bottom of the set, okay? That's fine. When they get to the third couple down, a new couple will start the dance all over again. So basically people are just spinning and spinning all the way down. The one thing you've got to remember is you must keep moving up to the top of the dance floor or you'll all end up somewhere in a mess down there. Right, so we'll try that to some music. I'll maybe join in as well, because I quite like this dance. Right, so wee fiddle intro, and then we're off. Round, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, again, 2, 3, 4. Now lady swings a gent swings a lady, swing the partner in the middle. And it moved down. Move on. So, thank you. That is the Arcadian Strip the Willow. Now, don't worry, we will talk you through all the dances tonight. So if you've forgotten or you're a bit nervous, get up anyway, because it is great fun. Now, they were being very gentle when they're swinging. We expect you to swing much faster than that. And we also play it much faster. So that is our dance demonstration, ladies and gents. If you'd just like to give the dancers a wee round of applause. We look forward now to seeing you all on the dance floor tonight. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Craig. Was anyone taking notes? No? Okay, fine. Okay, we're going to go into a question and answer session now. We've had the Twitter channels and the email and the cards open all day today, so we've got another good set of strategic questions for you. I'd like to invite our panelists to come up to the stage, so we should have Mark, Stephanie, Andy, Ron, and Alan. And chairing your session, we have the CEO of Potatoes South Africa. We have Mr. Mark du Plessis. Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. Thanks for the invitation. I was just thinking, looking at these dances, don't you get a GPS for this kind of dance that we can hire for tonight? We got all the panelists there, 5 of them. 1 rose and 4 thorns. Ladies and gentlemen, towards the end of the conference, it's been great. I think there was a great wow factor today. I don't know if you experienced. A lot of time you said to yourself, wow, this is great. This is going to the right place. And looking at the theme of today, the future opportunities, what nicer to have a product with the potential to really address the future and the challenges and the opportunities especially that we have. So the potato, most certainly the right vehicle. We spoke about things like China, ecological boundaries, not opportunity, but probably. We'll hear more now. Genome sequencing, the GMOs, cost versus processing, future scenarios, innovation and technology, and also the next generation of consumers. So it's very nice to have a panel of very capable people that has shared their thoughts today. I'm just quickly going to tell you again, Mark Linus, the author of The God Species, How the Planet Can Survive the Age of Humans. He talked to us about his 9 planetary boundaries, the whole thing about 10 billion people, 2050, doubling food production. Mark, I believe you also do some advisory work in the Maldives, so if you get a vacancy, I'll gladly apply. Then we've got Stephanie Reyes. She's the Chief Executive of Earth Analytics Group in the USA. Very interesting, mixing satellite remote sensing with practical agronomy. Andrew Pittman, also there, New Zealand Institute for Plant and Food Research. He led the scientific response to the recent unfortunate outbreak of zebra chip in New Zealand, also a big issue in the States as I know. He's also part of the International Potato Diagnostic Collaboration between ourselves, South Africa, the UK, Australia, and New Zealand. And then getting to the farmers, the producers, let me first, sorry, Ron, you're not one. Ron from New Zealand, business manager from Potatoes New Zealand, 20 years of experience, really lots of potato passion packed in that powerhouse. He's attended 6 of the 8 World Potato conferences or congresses. I don't know anyone else that's attended more in the audience or not. More than 6. Doesn't look like it. He was the Congress manager for the last Congress in Christchurch, and also a member of WPC International Advisory Committee. Sorry about that. We got quite a lot of questions, and nice ones, so I'm going to shoot, and I'll probably direct it to the appropriate, that I think it's appropriate people to answer that. The first then being a resource question. No one has mentioned P&K, resources for the future. Is this as important as water? Are the solutions in plant breeding, rotation, engineering, etc.? Maybe, Mark, you could be a guy to first respond to that.
Yeah, phosphorus is a bit different. I mean, it's still a nutrient which causes eutrophication and has ecological ramifications like nitrogen, but it's also scarce, which nitrogen obviously isn't, given that it's 78% of the atmosphere. And to my understanding, most of the deposits are in Morocco, certainly what's easily mineable. So we're moving into a situation where that will need to be recycled much more efficiently. So there's a good reason to do that, both for environmental outcomes and because it's a very limited resource.
Any comments, any other panelists? Stephanie, I don't know if you? Nope. Okay. Shall we move on? I think the next is probably Alan and Ron, more suited to answer. Collectively, are we doing enough to educate the next generation of consumers when we specifically talk about youth?
No.
That was wonderful.
I think the industry globally has dealt with the subject disgracefully. In 2008, the United Nations declared 2008 the International Year of the Potato. What other industry was given an opportunity by the UN to promote the health benefits of your product? To my knowledge, only Potatoes South Africa, Potatoes New Zealand, and the Potato Council in the UK really grasped the nettle and promoted the health value. We cannot expect anybody else to do this apart from industry itself. We need to invest. It is not a cost if we wish to keep our consumers of the future. Most housewives today don't know how to peel a potato, never mind cook it. We need to get to the kids, we need to invest, and so the short answer is no, and that's why I think so.
Ellen, any response?
Well, I think probably the answer on a global basis is that this is something we must do if we want our children of the future to be consuming potatoes and having that as part of their diet. Then I think it's essential that we introduce them to how potatoes are grown and how they're eaten and enjoy them from a young age. I have to claim that in Britain, Potato Council has a leadership position in teaching kids about potatoes. We, for many years, have run a project called Grow Your Own Potatoes, and it has its own website, which I would dearly love you all to go and have a look at. Our mission is to get children in primary schools only, so that's up to about age 11 or so, to actually get potatoes, a grow bag, and within the school curriculum, they grow potatoes in the classroom. And they learn across the curriculum all about various aspects of potato production. And there's a prize for the biggest yield from the supplied potatoes at the end of the season. It's a big competition. And this year we will cover 500,000 primary school children in Britain. And that's just this year's class level. So, you know, we think this is very, very important, and our board members and our levy payers across the country, farmers, get involved in the process, in the classrooms, helping the kids plant and grow and harvest their potatoes. So we must do more, and that's the kind of project which those countries in the world are not actually engaging in. Have a look at what we're doing on the website. You know, it really is successful.
Thanks, Ellen and Ron. I can also add to South Africa, obviously, we need to win the consumers' mouths from maize meal. So we're also very active in the school projects, either planting projects, industrial theatre, promoting, telling them more about it. And it's working well. It's really kicking off. Right, let's move on. I think the next is probably Andy. Does growing tolerant variety means that we are storing up bigger problems for ourselves? And this is probably referring to zebra chip. So did you get that?
I guess I can. There's one other example, and that's virus. And certainly, certain cultivars of virus, there is those cultivars will result in the explosion of the virus in subsequent crops. New Zealand has taken, I think, so the Americans will know the cultivar Atlantic. In New Zealand, that cultivar is no longer used because it's considered to cause problems with that virus. So I would say yes, we are. With tolerant cultivars, it can cause a problem. There's not a huge amount of symptomology sometimes. Yeah, sorry. That's what I would say. In terms of zebra chip, which is probably more what I know about, we don't have any resistance that we know of. There's a limited amount in New Zealand, in the US, and we are trying to look for tolerance. If we identify tolerance but we can't find resistance, I guess one of the issues is that we have no other option than to try and plant those cultivars in the first instance to deal with the problem. And that's perfectly demonstrated in New Zealand, where we lost 150 million over 3 years, and so the industry had no other option. So it's a difficult question to answer over the long term, I'm afraid. The industry may not be in existence.
Thanks, Andy. Maybe the next one, Alan, I don't know if you're the right one. He always seems to be the right one to answer, so you can answer this. How do we maintain international momentum on genomics now that the genome is published? I don't know if...
Me? Surely not.
Sorry, that was something that Rob said I must do, so. Anyone comments on the panel? I don't know.
I might take a go at that. New Zealand was part of the consortium that produced the genomics of the potato. And we don't have the resources that some of the guys that described the work this morning have to, in terms of microarrays, things like that. So there's a big question mark about how a country as small as New Zealand can utilize that information. I think we have to engage in collaboration. Glenn's talk, I would put our guys in contact with him straight away to try and utilize some of the tools that they've developed, because on our own we wouldn't be able to keep that momentum going, I don't think. And I think somebody mentioned about that, about whether now the research should go in different directions from independent countries. And I guess from a New Zealand perspective, I would say no, that wouldn't be as helpful to us. It may be to other groups that have more resources.
Goody. Sorry, Alan. Let's continue. How do we bridge the gap? And I think it refers to, Mark, in your speech, you refer to Africa and unleashing potential and stuff. How do you bridge the gap between food insecurity and abundant natural resources, for example, in Africa?
Well, you need to ask Bill Gates that, you know, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and Rockefeller and all these guys are in Africa trying to address precisely this question. And I'm absolutely no expert, but my understanding is that African soils are very depleted, nutrient depleted in terms of organic material as well, and that's a substantial issue here. It depends also on crop types, so you're not in a marketized situation generally. So farmers don't have access to inputs like fertilizer, but they don't have access either to improved seeds. And I actually think the NGOs make the situation worse, or at least keep it frozen in time, because there's this whole sort of ideology about farmer safe seed, and everything has to be done on the local scale by peasant farmers, and that's sort of glorified and fetishized in some way. And actually, I think African farmers, like any other farmers, need to be able to access all the best tools that are there in the modern world, and that shouldn't be denied them.
Any other comments from panel?
I'll just make a quick comment. We started doing work in East Africa about a month ago. We got a call from actually a small, medium-sized enterprise. It's a 5,000-hectare rice producer that's facing similar issues to what we've seen in the United States with depletion of aquifers. And one of the things that they're looking at is trying to evaluate whether the cause of the flow rate in the river is due to climate change or if it's due to land use change. And what became interesting to us isn't just the nature of the work that we're able to go in and assess water supply on behalf of a large producer in the region to inform their irrigation infrastructure decisions, but the fact that in East Africa, the majority of primary production is transitioning from smallholders to entrepreneurs that have started agribusinesses, and that's happening at a pretty rapid rate. We have gotten several calls of interest from USAID as well as other small food companies that are now starting to expand into the area. So this big opportunity in terms of increasing production where you have natural resources, but perhaps you haven't had skills and technology on the ground, I think is, we heard a lot earlier this week about Africa's population growing exponentially over the next 13 years. But when we look at the natural resource base and the human capital that exists there, I think it's a huge opportunity for the world to increase the adaptive capacity of that land and get all those folks trained up to achieve their potential.
Thanks on that. Staying in Africa, obviously, is close to us. If you imagine Africa's got 10% of the world's potato hectareage, 1.9 million hectares, but it produces only 3%. Average yields 10, 11, if I'm correct, tons to a hectare. So very, very low. And we'll probably hear a little bit more. I don't know, Peter, if you're going to talk about it, so I don't want to steal that. But huge challenges in terms of late blight, seed systems, and virus in Africa. And I guess only seed will already double the crop. Well, you can think if you get 1 ton per hectare more in Africa, it's equal to the total South African crop that you produce extra. So lots of opportunity in Africa there. Okay, I wonder, is there any questions from the floor? Have we got a roving mic? Don't know if we got. Questions, anyone? Late afternoon, dancing lessons? No one? I can continue. Anyone? There's one. Apparently not. Okay, so I'll continue with mine. Good to you. Where are we now? Talking about GMOs, and also mentioned a lot today. The question is potato the right vehicle to lead on GMO acceptance? Should we be the first? And if so, is there a single trait or characteristic that we should pursue first? Who should be the appropriate person to? Mark, would you, or?
Well, I mean, I've followed this debate for a long time, and primarily, I used to be a crop trasher. That's my, dirty little secret. Not a secret anymore. And that gives me a particular, so I have an insider viewpoint of the arguments against GMOs, because I used to make them up until comparatively recently. And for me, the potatoes is an appropriate GMO crop for two very strong reasons. The first is that you don't have the pollen contamination issues. I think contamination is a pejorative word which I don't like to use, but that's the one that's out there. Excuse me. Secondly, the genes that we're talking about introducing into potato to give late blight resistant come from potato. And actually, that removes a lot of the scaremongering opportunities, I think, for anti-GMO groups as well. And of course, you've got, doing this in Ireland, you've got the whole historical connotations of, the potato famine, blight caused, and if this is the country that solves the problem, at least for a substantial period of time, I think that has a really interesting sort of traction as well. So I actually do think it is a very much an appropriate crop to do this work on.
Thanks, Mark. Any other comments? Ron?
I'm probably not competent to answer, but I'm going to have a go. I certainly think so. Potatoes has a huge opportunity. We've heard people during this conference describe it as a sleeping giant. The issue we have is convincing, and we had the issue in New Zealand with psyllid, which is, Annie has said, has cost my industry and my growers and my processors something like, I would suggest, almost $200 million by the end of June this year in 4 years. If we had a GMO variety that could have fixed that, and I'm told by scientists in plant and food research, by Tony Connor, that, yeah, we could potentially fix zebra chip within 6 months through cisgenics. Then I go and talk to my processors and say, can I have a list of your suppliers? And I go to the McDonald's and the KFCs of this world. Will they allow their growers to grow a cisgenic potato because they're concerned about their customers? That's the issue. I agree with Mark. We need to get this story across that this is environmentally friendly, it's good for us, and we are reducing the environmental impact. My growers have had in the last 4 years, they were spraying once a week. At least once a week. Is that environmentally sustainable? No. Is it economically sustainable? No. So give us the tools to get there. I was delighted to hear Mark's comment this morning about GMOs. This is the second World Potato Congress I've been at, where an environmentalist, the first one was Mike Moore, who I understand was the founder of Greenpeace at Boise in Idaho, stood up and said, I can never understand why Greenpeace would never endorse GMOs. It's the most friendly environmental technology that's available. Of course, potatoes should be first. We're the most important vegetable in the world. Let's lead, not follow.
There you go. Thanks, Ron. Alan, I think I forgot to introduce you. Sorry about that. Wasn't on purpose.
Well, I think, as a Scotsman on the board of James Hutton Institute, I have to make clear what's my view and what's a policy view and so on. But I think, the nub of it is, we need to be able to allow the scientists to get on and do their work, I think. We need to not place artificial barriers in the way of the development of the varieties we're looking for, and allow the process of safe development to continue unimpeded, I think. I certainly don't believe that we're ready to start growing crops in the UK or in Europe right now, but there's an ongoing development program that I think should go on unimpeded. And whether it's wheat or potatoes or anything else, you know, there's a clear view now around the world that we need the technology that's there today to allow, you know, the traits we're looking for. The only other thing I would say is I think we need to focus on the benefits to the consumer as much or as more than the benefits to the farmer. We talk a lot about the low-hanging fruit, perhaps, of late blight resistance, etc. But, you know, there are great opportunities, I think, to develop the differentiated products that will offer benefits to consumers. And I think, you know, scientists need to be working on benefits to consumers, you know, really in the forefront in order to be able to get that inflection change in society's attitudes.
Thanks, Alan. Yeah, I've got no doubt in continental Africa that GMOs can make a big difference. I think a big challenge stays the owners of the technology, and how do you, the royalties on that, how do you manage that in a country in Africa? If you look at, for example, Kenya, I think you've got close to 500,000 potato growers on 110,000 hectares. So it makes it, it's a different world. It makes it a bit difficult. I want to end off. Can I just ask, no questions from the floor? For going? Anyone? Gone. Then I'm going to pose the last question. It's probably to each one of you. Yeah, Ron, you too. Can the panel members say what they think the industry will look like in 10 years? I'm glad I don't have to answer this. Where's Chantal Ilbery? She can probably tell us. I think it's more about, if we think of the next World Potato Conference, what would be a typical topic? What would we focus on? So after everything that we've done today and heard and seen, what should we look at from your point of departure? Mark, shall I start on your side?
Paul Gascoigne once famously said, he's a footballer, by the way, ex-footballer, I never make predictions and I never will. And that's my philosophy. So I would like to skip that question and instead say what I hope the industry will do over the next 10 years, and that's continue the trend towards sustainability, and to lead the trend towards sustainability, because there's no other way to go. And if you're in an unsustainable business, you're going to be closed off in all these different opportunities. So got to move to sustainability in terms of land use, water use, the use of toxic chemicals, and these other areas of great concern, particularly in the world which is heating up, and with the climate changing, all of the different pressures that adds.
Thank you. Ron?
I think, from my perspective, totally different. I want to see an industry which is more unified. I've sat for many years and heard about them and us, growers and processors and retailers. We've got to remember we're all in this together. I would like to see a lot more unification. I'd like to see a lot more collaboration. We are a small world community, but we have so much knowledge that we can share, and in general, we are not in competition with one another. We're in competition with other carbohydrates. Let's get together. You know, the grower can't work without the processor without the retailer without the other two. Let's grow the industry together. If Psyllid taught us one thing in New Zealand, is that we were all in the poop together. A crisis is a great way of bringing people together. I don't want the industry globally to have a crisis, but I do like to think, Mark, that in 10 years' time, we're a lot closer together than we are now.
Thanks, Ron. Stephanie?
I think the future is unfolding in front of us, in the context of just experiencing the weather in the United Kingdom over the past 6 weeks. You know, I hail from America. I'm spending quite a bit of time in Europe, and in North America we say there is no climate change, but the weather is changing. I think adaptation will be the defining moment in terms of how growers not just adapt to changes in precipitation and temperature, but also variety selection, field selection, how they manage cultivations of rotation crops differently to increase soil organic matter. Placing a value on these cultivation practices, I think, is something that the industry needs to recognize. It's more than just about more efficient irrigation or lowering the cost of production of a potato crop in a single season. It has much more to do with a longer view on how a given piece of land is managed, and soils will be essentially the competitive defining moment. We're starting to see this in North America. We have competition for potato acres versus cereals, in particular corn, given the subsidies that we have in the U.S. And I can see, given that potatoes are becoming one of the world's major food security crops in places like China and Southeast Asia, that we're going to have our work cut out for us. And in closing, I would just encourage all of us to think about keeping the potato industry strong in the context of the past. I mean, this is an industry that innovates on seed varieties and has been around as long as mankind has been around. And I think the future is going to depend upon this industry to continue to thrive and grow, to produce food for the developing world as part of the future opportunity for the industry.
Thank you. Alan?
Well, I certainly feel that, you know, we're hosting a World Potato Congress here, and therefore, you know, the future has to be about, you know, the world's potato industry continuing to collaborate, work together. I mean, the globalization of companies and the supply chain will enable that. But I think, you know, we need to continue to operate on a global basis, making sure that the potato is at the forefront of, you know, the challenges we face. But I think, you know, we have to remember that, you know, in the years ahead, we'll continue to see a consumer-led sort of demand for innovation. And I think innovation right the way throughout the supply chain will be an absolutely core feature of the next decade or so. And that means growers are going to have to innovate rapidly in order to stay in the game at all. I think there'll be a big focus absolutely on sustainability, and again, growers are going to have to get ahead of the curve a little bit and not play catch-up when the retailers make demands on them at the last minute. And I think that actually, in the long term, I think that my concern perhaps is that the traditional family farm growing potatoes, whether it's small holdings in developing countries or, you know, medium-sized farms in Europe or America, will increasingly diminish and die, and will be replaced by probably the packers and processors. Some people have even mentioned retailers vertically integrating back down the chain and becoming primary producers themselves. So I think the numbers of major companies that have got a strong hold on the whole process from growing right the way through the chain will be a key feature.
Thanks, Alan. Andrew?
I guess I would just talk about plants and diseases, pests and diseases. In terms of pests and diseases, I think in 10 years we'll probably be still talking about emerging diseases given the global transport of potatoes and the increasing production in developing countries. On a positive, though, I think the genome gives us an opportunity to find solutions to some of those pests and diseases. And I think that we'll be talking in this Congress about the utilization of that genome to deal with some of those key pests.
Thanks. Just a thought, when I was now part of the scenario session, we spoke about the axis of healthy and unhealthy, and I think food security and food luxury. And we're battling with healthy being a vegetable, probably unhealthy being a starch, and food security close to us. But the beauty of everything for me is that a potato fits in everywhere, basically. Should it be for food security? Should it be at food luxury? It's so diverse, it's so versatile. So we got the product, and in the end, it's all of us here that can make the difference in the world with regard to potatoes and how do we address the potential in future. I'd like to thank the panel members for their contribution for the whole day, and I hand over to Alan. Thank you.
Thank you.